This is the White Coat Investor Podcast, Milestones to Millionaire, celebrating stories of success along the journey to financial freedom.
This is Milestones to Millionaire podcast number 70, Academic Pharmacist Millionaires. DLP is a familiar name within the WCI community as longtime members of our investment opportunities list. If you want to invest with a high-growth impact investor that believes in doing well while doing good, we encourage you to check out DLP. The real estate-backed investments build wealth and prosperity for all of their members, investors, clients, and partners. Plus, their funds have historically had zero losses. Find out more at whitecoatinvestor.com/DLP. If you're thinking of getting into investment housing, they should definitely be on your radar. We've got a great episode today from a profession that is actually a significant chunk of white coat investor followers. About 8% of our followers, according to our most recent survey, are pharmacists. So we're going to talk today with a pharmacist about a recent financial achievement. All right. Our guest today is Bhavik Shah. Welcome to the Milestones to Millionaire podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I hope I pronounced your name right. Was that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. All right. Well, we're celebrating with you today. We're excited to have you on here. First, though, tell us your profession and how far you are out of school.
I'm an academic pharmacist based in the Northeast. And I graduated from pharmacy school in 2008 and came out of training in 2010.
Okay. You in a big city up there or this low cost of living area? What are we talking about?
Major city, Philadelphia.
Okay. And what's your approximate net worth?
I am married, so my wife and I, we have a net worth of about 1.6 million.
1.6 million. So you are millionaires. Congratulations. That's pretty exciting. Yeah, it's still millionaires, even given the market downturn the last few months.
Yeah. And part of it is because we also have real estate. And so that sort of made up for some of our downside in our stocks.
Yeah, awesome. Well, tell us about your net worth. What are your assets and your liabilities divided up into?
Sure. We have about 75,000 in banking. Our 403B, traditional 403B, we have about 720,000. Roth IRAs combined, we have about 145,000. Taxable brokerage, about 45K. Our primary home, we have about 240,000 in equity. And we have two rental properties, which combined have about a little over 400 in equity. And we also have a 529 and a UTMA for our son, but I'm not including that in our net worth calculation.
Awesome. So some mortgages in there, I assume, based on the way you described your equity. Mortgage on each of the rental properties and then the primary home as well?
Correct. Yeah, one of them is paid off. It will be paid off soon. But we have a mortgage on each of them. In terms of liabilities, that's our only liability. Well, I shouldn't say only. My wife has about 1,500 in student loans left, but that'll be done.
1,500.
That'll be done very soon.
The question is whether it's done on Thursday or next Monday. I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations on that too. That's exciting to come to the end of that. I'm sure for her. She came out of school about the same time as you?
Yeah. We both graduated the same year. We were actually in the same training program. That's how we met.
Okay. So both pharmacists.
Yeah.
And what's been your range of income over your careers?
So coming out of school, resident salary, I made about 45,000. We were co-residents. So we made about 45,000 in our first year. And then once we finished residency training, I made about anywhere between 90 to about 125 now. And my wife approximately makes the same.
So pretty typical pharmacist incomes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit less because of academia pharmacy, but yeah, it's in the same, within the standard deviation.
Okay. So take us back to when you came out of school a little more than a decade ago. What was your net worth? Did you ever calculate it?
I sort of backtracked that. My net worth was about, I graduated with about 80,000 in student loans and I had about 5,000 in the bank. So negative 75K.
And where was she at? About the same place, or
she was always a good saver. So her negative, her net worth was negative. She had about the same amount of student loans, but she had more in the bank. So she was about negative 50K.
So you brought all the debt into the marriage and she brought all the assets. Is that
You
what you're
know,
telling me?
yeah.
Sounds a little bit like our situation. All right. So did you get any help from your parents? Did they give you an inheritance? Did any of this come from them, or did they at least pay for
No,
your schooling? Or
no. Schooling was all on my parents. Growing up, we were lower middle class, so they weren't in a position to give us anything in terms of that. So it was all student loans and scholarship for both of us. And so we didn't receive an inheritance or anything like that. So
so, I mean, you guys make a good income combined. You're making a couple $100,000. But after just over a decade, you've got an awful lot of what you've made left, right? I mean, if you add up everything you've made over the last 10 years, most of it you still have. How did
yeah,
you do that? What's your secret to success?
we were always savers. It's sort of that immigrant mindset of live below your means. And we were always saving, but we didn't really have an idea of how to invest. And so recently, in the last, I would say 8 years, I got really interested in that. And so being more strategic about how to invest, where to save, what accounts to use, and that sort of thing. Um, but one of the biggest things is like living below our means, and our biggest sort of expense is housing. We were able to get our housing expense to be about 11% of our monthly income, and so we save and invest the difference. And so uh, so that's sort of where we are now.
How'd you get it so low in a northeastern big city?
We bought we bought a starter home, uh, and we've been here for about 6 years now, 7 years, and so we were thinking about upgrading and getting a larger home, but not now, not the way homes are right now. Um, but that's sort of we wanted to leverage. Uh, uh, you know, Having that starter home and saving and investing the difference. Because that was before we had children, and we always wanted to give ourselves the option that if my wife wanted to go part time or zero time, if and when we had a family, like we would have that option. And so we were very comfortable with uh, beginning with the starter home.
Now, you mentioned a little bit the immigrant mentality. Are you first generation immigrants, second generation immigrants?
So I guess I would say first generation for me, even though I was born overseas, but I came here when I was 3 years old. So my mindset is American. Um, so I'm first generation, and my wife is also first generation. But we had those values instilled to us from our parents.
So, so tell us about that upbringing. How did that affect how you manage your money?
So the for our parents, it was sort of like we were always able to have what we needed. My parents made sure that we had what we needed to be successful in school. So if we needed um, a computer or whatever, um, classes for being successful on exams or whatever, they would make that happen. And so and my parents, my dad, I remember him sitting down with the monthly checks that he would write for the bills. So I was very familiar with the amount of money that was coming in, going out at a very young age. So I understood the process of running a budget in that sort of like at the best as I could at that age. I remember my dad saying, "Make sure you pay off your credit card bill every month." And so so those lessons sort of stayed with us. But my parents didn't really have the means to talk about investments and 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, and that sort of thing. So, but they gave us a really good foundation from which to sort of have that launching pad, because we were in a position to have that income that would allow for that.
What advice do you have for someone that's just like you were a few years ago? They're coming out of pharmacy school, probably not owing just 80,000 now, probably owing 150,000 or 180,000. What advice do you have for them if they want to get to where you are and a decade from now want to be millionaires like you?
Yeah, so this is the same. These are the things I actually have an elective course in my college that I started on personal finances. So these are the things that I share with them. It's like live below your means, have a plan, what you're going to do when you're living below your means. So not just saving it in a bank account, but investing it, automating as much as you can, making sure you have a financial plan with a partner if you have one. So making sure you're on the right page and the same page. And just invest in index funds, ETFs, target date funds, if that's what you want. And so just go from there and then sort of commit yourself to lifelong learning. Because in my process, I gotten bad advice along the way. And at the time, I didn't realize it was bad advice. I was being pitched whole life insurance policies.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, exactly. I was sold a disability policy that ended up not being what I wanted or needed. And so I had to change that 2 years ago. And so that whole process of lifelong learning, I try to tell students is that you're doing that anyway for your careers, and there's going to be no better steward for your finances than yourself. So to commit to learn as much as you can. Even if you do use a professional, to then know that you're getting good advice when you engage with a professional.
Well, that's good advice. That's good advice for all of us. Congratulations to you on your success. It's very impressive what you guys have done. And I know it doesn't happen by accident. It takes a deliberate plan and it requires some discipline to follow it. So congratulations to you. And I know your story will inspire others to do the same. Thank you so much for coming on the Milestones to Millionaire podcast.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. A two-pharmacist income is about the equivalent of a family practice income, a pediatrician income, right? And double pharmacist debt is about the same as the debt you get coming out of medical school. And so there's a lot that most of you can take from that interview, that you can build wealth even when you're starting out in a hole, and that step by step, saving, investing in a smart way as you go through the years, very quickly adds a substantial sum of money. And I think that's the lesson to take away from that small and steady steps as you go along will bring you success in the long run. If you want to invest with a high-growth impact investor that believes in doing well while doing good, we encourage you to check out DLP Capital. DLP stands for Dream, Live, Prosper. Their equity and debt real estate-backed investments build wealth and prosperity for all of their members, investors, clients, and partners. Plus, their funds have historically had zero losses. Their unique fee structure means they don't make money until you make money. Find out more at whitecoatinvestor.com/DLP. If you'd like to be on the Milestones to Millionaire podcast, you can apply at whitecoatinvestor.com/milestones, and we'd love to celebrate your financial achievement with you and use it to inspire us to do the same. Till next time, keep your head up, shoulders back. You've got this, and we can help.
The hosts of the White Coat Investor podcast are not licensed accountants, attorneys, or financial advisors. This podcast is free entertainment and information only. It should not be considered professional or personalized financial advice. You should consult the appropriate professional for specific advice relating to your situation.